What's up, everybody? Joe White here, and we are rolling through California today. And Tony Khan did yet another interview where he put his foot in his mouth. This time he is trying to explain why it was a good idea to air the CM Punk Jack Perry All In footage. And this was his response. He was speaking to the Chris Russell show. Have no idea who that is. He says, I think it made a lot of sense. First of all, the Young Bucks FTR ladder match is coming up at AEW. See, here we go right off the bat. You can never, granted, this is what a promoter should do, but not every fucking question. Not every single question. So he uses the first part of his answer, of course, to promote the ladder match. I'm going to try to do it as Tony Khan. Sorry, I don't have cocaine with me, so it's not going to be a full-on impression, but this is the fourth chapter in the FTR Young Bucks. I believe they're two greatest tag teams in wrestling, the two best on the planet. And the last time they wrestled, Young Bucks beat FTR. This was at Wembley Stadium. AEW All In. A lot happened that day. I can't do the impression anymore. A lot happened that day. Those guys at one point, they were the third match on the show, on the pay-per-view, and at one point it looked like we were going to have to call them up and they were going to have to wrestle the first match of the pay-per-view. They ended up going on in the spot they were in, but the Young Bucks said the whole day, everything that had happened, it affected their mental preparation. Are you for real? Are you for real? As the lane alarm goes off in the background. Sorry, guys. These damn Californians over here, they love to daggone force you into the damn all the way over to the right hand side of the road. Jesus. Anyway, they weren't able to pray before the match. They were stressed out. Are you bleeping kidding me? Are you really kidding me? Are you? This guy's coked out of his mind. He is coked out of his mind. This guy is so much of a money mark. He's really expecting us to believe that because these guys weren't able to pray before their match, that it threw them off mentally, and this is a good reason to show this footage. It's not a good reason to show the footage because guess what happened? People started chanting for CM Punk on your TV show, dumbass. I mean, come on, dude. Oh, God. They slipped on the banana peel, lost the match. This guy's working. This guy's totally working, people. We're asking you legitimate questions at why you aired this footage on your television and you kayfabe this dude. It's so stupid. And even if I were to kayfabe, I wouldn't go, well, they couldn't pray before their matches. People just want to see good matches. No, people want storylines too. People want the matches to make sense. You coked up moron. Anyway, it was fascinating to see after the tape played the reaction Jack Perry got at New Japan. What? People chanting CM Punk's name? People chanting for a wrestler who you fired? If anything, it got CM Punk over. It didn't get Jack Perry over. He got the reaction of a superstar. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. People weren't chanting his name. People weren't going Jack, Jack, Jack. No, they were chanting CM Punk, CM Punk. That is not altogether unexpected, and it's something very interesting. Perhaps a side effect of this, Jack Perry, already a big star in wrestling. No, he's not. No, he's not. You know where his notoriety comes from is the fact that he's Luke Perry's kid. That was it. Jack can really the way the crowd connected with him in Chicago. You're a dumbass. They were chanting for CM Punk. Man, I swear, this dude, and people often ask me, Joe, where does the Coke thing start? Where does Coke, Tony Khan being a cokehead, where does that rumor start? Well, I did some digging around. And there were rumors. It's not only, if you just do Tony Khan cocaine addict and search the forums. Yes, I know the forums are about as credible as I am. But anyway, it comes from two things. One, the way he acts during press conferences. Go look at the CM Punk press conference and dadgum, when he's putting Punk over, talking about how he drove, he's the one that drew the first $1 million gate. His tone of voice goes way up and he starts yelling. He's like, yeah, people, this is literally people loves you. This guy drew the first, and he starts yelling and his eyes are popping out of his head, bulging. And the way he just can't talk to people, he's socially awkward. He is so socially awkward. I mean, when you have nothing to do, when people don't like you, when you're a Nepo baby who people don't want to be around, so you do nothing but sit in your room on the computer as a teenager, and you do nothing but book federations and go on forums, it tends to create a lot of social awkwardness, and you don't know how to act around people. And you want everybody to be your friend so badly. But also, somebody I just found this on Reddit, so take this with a grain of salt, but I have heard this from other places. Um, it has a lot to do with his nervous habits, really, as well as all the stories from the pandemic that were really extremely overblown. I don't think they were overblown because I've heard it from more than one source. Like full floor drug parties at hotels when Joey Janela confirmed that they were after work parties with nothing more than weed and White Claw. Now, first off, this was taking place in marijuana. Yeah. Welcome to marijuana. This is taking place in Florida where marijuana is illegal. And I find it hard to believe that it's just weed and White Claw. Although Tony does strike me as the person that would just pop back a Zima when you ask him if he wants a drink. No, I'll take a Zima. Like that character on Mad TV where the guy, he takes a drink of Zima, like one sip of Zima, and he's like, okay, I think I have a buzz. That's Tony Khan. Um, I think everybody says it's a rumor. People go, I started making cocaine jokes during the Impact promos because he looked like an 80s dirtbag. I assume somebody goes, I just assume all billionaires do coke. On Anyway, but that's where the cocaine deal started. And I'm sorry, the man's on something. If he's not on cocaine, then he's on fucking enough Adderall to kill a small donkey. I mean, that's just the way I see it. And him saying, "Oh, they didn't have a chance to pray." I buy that part because for all the Young Bucks' faults, I mean, the Young Bucks has a shirt. They have a shirt, I should say, with the Buddy Christ from the movie Dogma, and them's doing their little stupid pose beside the Buddy Christ, and it just said two good young Christian boys. They really seem to think that they're good Christians. Well, guess what? You're not. If you were good Christians, to err is human, to forgive divine, you would have daggone sat in a room with Punk if you were good Christians, and you would have talked to him and hammered this out. But no, you choose to have a vendetta, and you choose to keep that stick in your ass, and it's come back to haunt you, hasn't it? It really has. It's really come back to haunt you because they're chanting his name in your arena and you're the quote unquote EVPs and you don't like it. And he buried you, rightfully so, on Ariel Hawani's podcast. So you said, okay, we'll show him. And what you really showed was everything he said was truthful, even though it may have painted him in a bad light. It's truthful, and you have no merit. You have no ground to stand on. So you can, you could sit there and claim all you want to that you're good little Christians and we didn't get a chance to pray before our match, so it threw us off. No, sorry. And I'm not a huge fan of using religion in storylines anyway. So it makes you come off as a bunch of stupid marks. It really does. And you're backed by a cocaine addict who needs to lay off the sauce, lay off the powder, and just throw away his sugar bowl and learn how to book a wrestling show or give the book to somebody else. That's what all this boils down to, folks. And until that happens, until this man can learn to give somebody else the book, AEW will never be taken seriously. Their arenas are only going to be a quarter full, except for the pay-per-views, and except for when somebody big debuts like Mercedes Moné, or whenever he gives them a match like Edge versus Christian. Tony Khan's good at creating happenings. He's good at creating what they call pop-up events. But on a consistent basis, when you already have the arena set up for half capacity and it draws only a half of that, which makes the arena quarter full, that's not successful. And as CM Punk said, they're not in the business of drawing tickets. They're not in the business of putting butts in seats. They're not in the business of making good stories. They're not in the business of being logical. They're in the business of just throwing crap out there and seeing what sticks. And while his matches are great, while his matches are good, Bryan Danielson should be ashamed of himself. If he's Tony's right-hand man, I like Bryan Danielson. He's probably one of my favorite wrestlers ever. But he should be ashamed of himself. Anyway, folks, that does it for me. We'll see you down the road.